My 2025 language goals for Spanish. Hi, Vicky Kelty here with another episode of the Language Learning Report Card. And I'm going to jump right in. I'm actually going to be reading this to you. So let me prepare my reading voice. Just to start with a little reflection of what I wrote last year in a letter to myself. I had the intention of doing a book club with my cousins. Shout out to my cousins. And we said we were going to read an Agatha Christie book. We did start it and we went at a nice pace for me. I wanted to go slower and they agreed to that. We kind of fell off the Spanish reading book club wagon for a while, but we're back on it again this year. So that was one of the things that I had written down that I was going to do. And one other thing that I put as a language learning resolution was that I said that my first language resolution for 2020, well, I wrote it in 2023, it was for 2024, was that I was going to compliment myself every time I study a language. And this means writing my compliment on a piece of paper to put in my compliment jar, not when doing Duolingo, real studying. I was very strict with myself back when I was writing these in 2023 for my 2024 self. I didn't do that. So sometimes I would write on the little papers that went in my language wins jar, but I did not do it every single time. I can't even believe that I put that down as a resolution because I am not someone who does every single time things. So 2023 Vicky was not in line with future Vicky. But I do like the idea of writing compliments. So I would challenge myself to continue doing that because I think it's a really positive way to reinforce my language learning. And then my second resolution that I wrote down was to get a small journal to put next to my bed, which is just for writing in other languages. I'll write in it once a week. Here's where I start to go off the rails again. I'll write in it once a week, but I can write in it more. I did do that. I actually made my own journal and I put it next to my bed and I did write in it sometimes, but I did not write in it once a week. And it was a good idea, but didn't stick to it. So what I would challenge myself with the resolutions that I currently write are to not be such a stickler of you need to do this once a week. You need to do this every day. That's not my personality. It doesn't work for me. So that being said, here's the letter I wrote to myself. So this is a letter that I actually sent in my newsletter, which if you want to receive my Friday Fluency newsletters, you can get signed up to that. Just head over to my website, vickykelty.com, and or in the show notes, the description of the video, wherever you are, you can get signed up to that. And here is what I wrote for that is like a fill in the blank type letter. So I said, Hola, Vicky. In 2024, I did all these things in Spanish. I watched TV shows and movies, read books, listened to podcasts, conducted business, chatted, laughed, argued because it's not always rainbows and butterflies, cried, and laughed some more through audio messages, in-person conversations, and written messages. One thing that surprised me about my Spanish practice was how seemingly simple things could fall out of my head sometimes and how hard I could be on myself in those moments, which wasn't nice to me at all. It's normal to have moments of forgetfulness for a multitude of reasons. Aw. When I think about my favorite Spanish memory this year, I remember chats with my husband, our cats, our vet, my in laws, my own parents too, my sister, and my students because Spanish does come up in class. As I find that when it's allowed to show up, it actually tends to show up less. Like when you prohibit chocolate and all you do is crave it. That's the idea. Thinking about 2024, I feel content. It was a better year than I gave myself credit for. The reason I started Language Learning Report Card podcast in August is because I wasn't showing up enough in Spanish. And reflecting on it now, I can see that wasn't true at all. Geez, sometimes I'm really demanding on myself and expect a lot without appreciating what I have accomplished. In 2025, I want to spend more time doing this in Spanish. The same as last year, except for taking the time to appreciate what I've been doing. Aw. I want to be kinder and more understanding to myself when I have difficult days, when Spanish, or when I want to take a day off, because there's probably a good reason why if I let myself take a look at what's going on behind the scenes. When I think about this, I feel cherished. Sounds like I've got my best interests at heart. I know doing nice things for myself, like complimenting my Spanish and taking breaks when I need and having fun with the language, all work and no play and all that, will help me accomplish my goal of having a more rewarding life with Spanish because I'm in it for the long haul. Future me, before I go, here's a little advice from present me to you. Take it easy. Poco a poco, y lo sabes. Hugs, Vicky. So maybe there are some things that I mentioned in my letter, and I normally don't read my letter again until the next year. So this was kind of strange to be reading it so soon. And this is actually a personal letter. So I normally don't go sharing these with everybody, but here we are. So, some of the things when I was reading it, I wasn't sure what I was going to say next. So you can tell when I get surprised by the information. But maybe there are some things that I mentioned, like how I'm really demanding with myself at times is something that you can relate to. And being kinder and more understanding. So I leave you with that to think about. And maybe there's some things within my Spanish letter to my future self that, or my letter about learning Spanish, my letter to my future self about learning Spanish. Whew, I'd get there eventually. Maybe there are some things within that letter that you find useful and you can use for your own language learning goals. Even if you don't make a resolution, that's not the point. It's about where do you want to go next with your language learning. And be sure to check in with what I have to say about the French letter that I have. I'm going to record a different episode for that because this one's already long enough, don't you think? I hope you have a fabulous day and happy language learning. Bye bye now.